and welcome to Live at the Gym. Today we'll focus on 3 simple words that will change your life and change your relationships. Hi, I'm Dale Fallon. I'm founder of the Communication Gym, and welcome to Live at the Gym, where we work out our communication muscles so that we can improve the quality of our conversations. Before we introduce today's guest, Joe Rybarczyk, let's talk about powerful questions. Did you know that the average human has an attention span of 8 seconds or less? I think it's actually going down, but 8 seconds. That makes listening very difficult. It's really hard to stay focused and listen. At a great article by Fast Company, 6 Ways to Become a Better Listener, they choose their number 3 tip is to ask more questions. It helps you engage. It helps you stay focused. We'll share a link to this great article in the description. And in our playbook page today, we'll talk about 3 different types of questions: clarifying questions, questioning assumptions, and open-ended questions. Today, we're going to focus on one of those, open-ended questions. These are questions that allow you to direct the conversation without limiting your conversational partner in scope. It gives you an open field, but yet a direction. They allow you to steer the conversation while collecting more information about something specific. With that as our focus for today, let's meet our guest member, Joe Rybarczyk. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Dale. Thank you for having me.
That's my pleasure. Joe, you've been in banking for over 20 years. You're currently the Vice President and Retail Marketing Manager for Centric Bank. You also, this is an interesting fact for our listeners here, you were in our inaugural class as a black belt in interpersonal communication some 15 years ago.
Sure.
And we'll touch on that a little bit later. But to start our conversation, Joe, I'd like to ask you a question from a quote from your LinkedIn page. I thought it was really interesting, and I know you, so it spoke to me a little bit. You said, "I've worked for small community banks and large internationals, and it's truly a wonderful experience when your beliefs match those of the organization." Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Dale, thank you very much. Having been in this industry my entire profession, I've had the fortunate experiences of working for the large banks, the retail banks, the community banks. And what I found is when you're working at the larger institutions, it's all about the numbers. It's about, sales and service. And certainly they treat their customers with respect, but it's drive the numbers. When you work at a community bank, we are the heart of the community. You sort of get the feeling of, what would happen to our community if we did not exist? The community would be the lesser. So we take that mindset and, we drive that down to everything we do, and we focus on that client. We focus on that individual, and we get to know them, their whole financial story, their whole life story. And our tagline says it best at Centric Bank: we revolve around you. So you take that to heart, and I can go tell story upon story about clients that I've come to know, clients that I've learned so much more about, and it all comes down to talking to them, listening to them, finding out what their dreams and aspirations are, their life story, and that just deepens a relationship more so than any product, service, rate, fee you can offer as a financial institution.
Well, and tell me a little bit about that connection that you have. You touched on it briefly, but you can maybe share a story with us about one, or tell us a little bit more about just what that means to you and the way you communicate with them.
Well, sure. I have clients who, again, being a community bank, you find out a little bit about them. So where are you originally from? I find that in the mid-state, most people are not originally from here. But when you start asking, so where are you originally from? And you find out, and a little bit something about them. I am originally from northeastern Pennsylvania, a little town, Wilkes-Barre City. I have a client, he grew up and lived in Nanticoke, the Polish capital of Pennsylvania. Maybe Pittsburgh would have something to say about that, but this gentleman is just a nice individual, and we got to talking about the hometown, the foods, the people, the ethnicities, and there formed a true connection. And anytime this gentleman comes in, I say to him, "Jak się masz?" Polish for "How are you?"
Yeah.
He doesn't speak Polish really, but it's that connection, and he appreciates that. And over the years, he has come to bring all of his deposits and relationships to us, not because we offer perhaps the best rate or we have the best, although we do. It's because he appreciates that relationship. And then it's not just with me, because how my employees see how I interact with that individual, they interact with that individual the same way, and it becomes like a family.
Yeah. Well, and you said it, that relationship becomes the container, right, of the transaction. So I think a lot of business people think it's about the transaction. And when we seek to understand more and we build the connection, then we have a relationship that supports the transaction, and that helps our transactions align more effectively, solve not just surface problems, but second and third tier problems. And it really keeps the lifetime value of the client connected, and it keeps us building on that.
Yes.
And knowing you like I do, I'm sure that connection is there for all of your clients as well. It's a great fit for you in Centric Bank.
Yes. Thank you.
Good. So you ready to start our workout this morning?
I am ready to start the workout. Let's exercise.
So here's what we're going to do today is I'm going to represent a potential manufacturing client for you. I've got just a small little manufacturing firm, maybe about 10 employees. And we've had a chance to meet and touch base a little bit. But what I'd like you to do, the 3 words is here, tell me more, are those 3 words that I talked about in the beginning. And they help to drive the conversation, but they also give me space, the person that you're talking with, space to open up a little bit. So when I go through and I'll start talking a little bit about my business, what I'm looking for is for you to target things that you want to know more about that will advance the conversation towards what potential needs I might have that you can help me with. Does that make sense? Okay,
makes sense.
Perfect. All right, Joe. Well, it's good to talk to you again. My little manufacturing firm here has grown. We've had a really good year last year, and it looks like we're going to need some expansion into some. I want to say a bunch of equipment, but really we need probably 2 pieces of equipment that are going to move us forward to help out a lot. And we're looking around some different banks. So I'm wondering what you need to know to move us forward.
Well, Dale, thank you very much for agreeing to meet with me again. And it's wonderful to have this opportunity. And I'm sure at Centric Bank we'll be able to work with you to help you realize your financial dreams. Now, you had mentioned you had a really good year last year. Can you tell me a little bit more about what kind of year you had?
Yeah, we actually picked up 3 new clients that represented a 25% increase in growth for us. So we're going to have to build on, we've been able to keep up with demand, but to be honest with you, if we have any additional growth, which I expect we will this coming year, we're going to need to add a new piece of equipment. It's going to be a pretty big step, pretty big investment for us.
Okay. Wow. 3 new clients. That's wonderful. And how big is your client base? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So we're pretty niche. We do work mostly in the Northeast, but we've got about, I would say, 35 total clients at this point. So, but the thing about those 3 is they represent a pretty good chunk of revenue for us as well. So they're gonna bring us up a good bit.
Hey, that's awesome. Now, originally you had mentioned 2 pieces of equipment, but with these 3, it would be 1. Can you tell me more about what your needs are going to be when you land these clients?
Well, that's the way you frame that. I would love to get 2 initially out of the gate. That would protect us, right? If we get the 1, we're in good shape, but we don't have any backup and we'll be running it pretty close to capacity. I would love to be in a position for 2, but the other 2 bankers I've talked to so far said that I should stick within my scope there and just go with the 1.
I understand. Can you tell me more about how this piece of equipment, what it is, and how it's going to help you bring those new clients on?
Yeah, well, it's the packaging piece that allows us to get more out the door. We've got a really good front line that we can expand and grow to on the on the production line end. But then when we get to packaging and shipping, this is going to allow us to really expand that and go forward.
Yeah. And this is an additional piece of equipment. Do you have something like this now? Can you tell me a little bit more about the process as it exists now?
Yeah, it is. It's a newfangled piece of equipment. We've got one that's about 15 years old.
Okay.
It does the job, but it doesn't give us much capacity for growth, and it's kind of, every now and then it kicks out a little bit of smoke, and the duct tape's about to fall off.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, it sounds like you're having an eye towards the future. In your best case scenario, what would you like to see happen with this equipment purchase?
Well, the two would be amazing for us because I think, I'm a little optimistic here, but I think these three new clients are going to take us into a different strata that's going to allow us into a different market and give us another chance to grow in Q2 and Q3 of next year. So I'm seeing our potential to do that as pretty good. That's why I'd love to go for two.
Yeah. Do you think that 15-year-old piece of equipment would survive if you continue to use it?
No, it's not at the scale that we need to use it in the beginning of the year. It won't work.
I see. And how do the employees feel about the prospects for the new year?
They feel pretty good. If we get a new piece of equipment, they're a little concerned as well. I mean, we're pretty open with them. We've talked to them about what's happening. So they would love to see some new equipment in, and it would be exciting for them. It's
Tell me a little
to stabilize our growth.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about your employees. Say you're 10 strong now, but with these new clients potentially coming on board, would you be looking to add to staff?
Yeah, the beauty of the equipment is we would add to staff, but we'd only need to add two, and that would help us to keep our costs down. It's not going to be a massive add for us. So this new business can come in at a higher margin too if we can do it right.
That's very good. Very good.
Joe, we could go on like this forever because you're doing a great job.
Well, I'm very interested to learn more about this packaging company and how we can serve you. And I certainly think the two pieces of equipment are what we should be applying for right out of the gate.
Yep.
It's really Dale. This exercise is about learning as much as possible about your client. It's not about what I know, and it's not about who I know. It's about, the customer and what their needs are and how they feel.
Yeah. And the old saying, right? They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's right.
And it's so easy. I want to say easy, but it's kind of a reaction. It's a knee-jerk reaction for those of us in sales to try to solve a problem. Like you see an opportunity and you could have so quickly jumped in that conversation to, well, how much do those pieces of equipment cost? What kind of line of credit do you need? You could have gone right into your product pitch and talking all about Centric. But what you do in asking the questions is you draw me out. And now I want to tell you more about my pretend manufacturing company that I don't have. We're having a good conversation about it, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The best question with any business owner is tell me how you got started.
Yeah.
Everybody is proud of their baby, and nobody wants to hear how long I've been in banking or what I know about banking. But if I ask you, tell me how you got started in business, I'm assured that I'm going to be there for at least the next 5 minutes listening to their story and listening intently.
Well, and to dial it right in, a perfect tee up for us to wrap up here, to dial it right into when you ask that question, that's a big open field. And then they're going to share some things within that big open field that you can say, look, tell me more about that. Can you tell me a little bit more about this? And you're steering the conversation right where you want it to go. And it could be on the people side or on the business side or on the number side. And it gives you such a great opportunity to lead, but lead with compassion and lead with concern and to gain information the whole time. I know in your head, that whole thing, you're putting it right. You're putting the picture together. And it's a really valuable skill. So Joe, you did a fantastic job. I'm not surprised by that. Really good job. And I hope you get to use these skills and continue to practice them as we continue to develop that tool for opening the conversation while moving it forward. Tell me more. Those 3 words can change your life. So I want to thank you, Joe, for joining us on today's call. Thank you to our listeners and our watchers here on Live at the Gym. I want to invite you to join us on Thursdays right here on LinkedIn for more communication workouts. And don't forget to don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you can't get it wrong. Grab your complimentary playbook page in the comments section below and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our blog for more communication and practice tips and exercises. Thank you again, Joe, for joining us. And thank you for joining us. And we'll see you at the gym.
Thank you, Dale.